The Great Divide Trail traverses the continental divide in the vast wilderness of the Canadian Rockies, between Alberta and British Columbia. This is the video diary of our adventure. Day 18 was from Boulton Creek to Palestine River, a 29-kilometer day.
Good morning. Starting up the morning with a road walk for the first hour. But the last 2 days, or 2 nights, 1 day, we stayed at Boulton Creek, part of Thru-Hike Provincial Park. And it was just friggin' wonderful. Not necessarily the park, it was good, but mostly because Nicole, the trail angel, and her sweet daughter, Isla, and all the cool people we met who were also through hiking the GDT seemed to collide here at this location. But super honorable mention to Nicole. She was absolutely wonderful. She prepared meals for us all week, and well, for the 2 days, and shuttled us back and forth as we needed to in her car. Wow.
After the road walk, we entered back into the forest at Upper Kanaskus Lake. The trails were quite well groomed, rocky, quite enjoyable, excellent scenery. Eventually we followed a path parallel to the Upper Kanaskus River. Then we came across bridges and more bridges. Every time we turned a corner, there appeared to be another bridge. Then we began our ascent. The weather was perfect and the scenery was spectacular. With a full day off at Boulton Creek, our legs were rested, our spirits were strong, and we were ready for anything. We had read in the guidebooks and other sources that Section C was likely the most beautiful part of the Great Divide Trail. So far, what we've seen, it's probably right. After a 500-meter ascent to get to Lawson Lake, we settled in, had a break, and enjoyed the views. Now this sign kind of disrupted us. Trail closed. Now with no other opportunities or no turn-offs or any other ways to get through to the Great Divide Trail, we took this as a guideline and continued anyway. We generally learned on the Great Divide Trail that signage was a guideline. It was mostly hiker beware. Shortly after Maud Lake was the North Kanaskus Pass. It was quite beautiful. It was also the dividing line between Alberta and British Columbia. Although we can't speak generally about the differences between the Alberta parks and the British Columbia parks, but from this point forward, as we entered into British Columbia, the trails were not maintained, they were not groomed, and they were generally dangerous. At the bottom of the north side of the pass was Leroy Creek. The trail was totally washed out from some activity in the spring, so we had to try to find a safe place to cross. We wanted to pick the narrowest possible place to navigate through, but generally narrower meant the water was running faster. Also, we couldn't see how deep it was, so we had to take a bit of a risk. Slow, steady, and no mishaps. A few hours later, we settled in at Palestine River Camp. It was essentially a large, wet, grassy field. Another 12-hour day, and lots of flies. Day 19 was from Pallister River to the Big Springs, a 29-kilometer day.
Good morning. We stayed at a campsite last night, which was in a meadow, a grassy meadow, right beside some streams, which means everything is damp this morning. We didn't have much choice, that was it. We got in around supper, 5:36, and then Mango showed up a couple hours later, and then Goat showed up a couple hours after that, just before sunset, and we're all together. It's all good. Okay, this is crazy. This is the trail. Basically, the lake. Our feet haven't been dry for 2 days now. Okay, we're taking a break, and this is dry. It's dry up at the front, but this is all wet. And the shoes are soaked, of course. That water wasn't just wet, which you would expect. It was very cold. So now my feet are wet and cold. So we're just leaving BC and entering national parks. And these are some of the markers at the border. Slide around to the front here. And you can see Provincial Park, boundary, British Columbia. We were back in Alberta and the trails were much better as we hiked through the beautiful Spray River Valley. Eventually we returned back into the forest, followed a few rivers, crossed a few bridges, and generally the trails were much better, well maintained, and easier to hike on. As we approached our camp for the night, the trails began to open up and they were much easier and more pleasant to navigate. A great way to finish up our 12-hour day. We had reservations at the Big Springs camp, which gave us the luxuries of enjoying the facilities that included an outhouse, tables, and bare canisters.
This is where I also store all my stinkies at night. There's a little bit of a ledge there with some venting. It usually works pretty good.
One of the things about the Great Divide Trail is you get beat up and you often don't even notice it. So when I was getting ready for bed, I noticed a good bruise from the day's hike. Day 20 was from Big Springs to Porcupine Camp, a 32-kilometer day.
Another good sleep in the backwoods of the GDT. It started out in the morning while we were still in our tent with some thunder and lightning, and of course some rain that went with it. But right now, dried up enough for us to get out of our tent. It's a little after 6, and we're on the trail.
We began our long ascent towards Wonder Pass, and to do this, we had to walk beside the beautiful emerald-colored Marvel Lake. The trails were well-groomed, well-marked, and had beautiful views on either side. As we became closer to Wonder Pass, dark storm clouds settled in.
Oh my goodness, it's hail out here. Ow, that hurt the head. We're on a ridge. There's no trees for shelter. And check out the hail. Holy jumping. This is hurting. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Crazy. We were just passing over a pass, and just at the crest, hail let loose, and it hurt.
Oh my, what a great adventure. It was at least gravel-sized hail. Had to hide your hands because it just beat them up so bad. Man, that was fun though. Woo! That's the best one so far though. Wow.
Despite the fact that we got beat up, it feels good.
Yeah, that was
strangely.
Awesome. Hey, you only get those experiences out here, that's for sure. That was awesome.
Sometimes you see snowbanks. We have hail banks on the GDT. That's a lot of hail. And a lot of it was hitting us in the top of the head. Oh man. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But we survived and we have a smile. Under the shadows of the majestic Assiniboine Mountain was the Assiniboine Lodge. The lodge included many outbuildings, all nestled into the wilds of the Rocky Mountains. The only way to get here was with a full day's hike or taking one of the company helicopters. The facilities were only available to customers, so we stopped on the side of the trail, had our lunch, and they continued north. The Ogg Creek Valley was beautiful with mountain ranges on either side, but the trail itself was generally wet and flat. The Ogg Valley eventually rolled into Ogg Lake, where the Valley of Rocks began.
Okay, this moonscape goes on and on and on. We've been at it for maybe 3 hours. It's kind of cool at first, but after a while it gets a tad tiring. It's pretty gnarly out here. We're looking forward to getting some nice pine needle paths like we did earlier in the day.
After another 12-hour day, we settled in a porcupine camp. We were eventually joined with Mango, our new friend Scott, and Goat, and of course, Munchie. Day 21 was from Porcupine Camp to Egypt Lake, a 26-kilometer day.
Boy, this morning's a little tougher than normal. I think the GDT is catching up to me. I'm discovering aches and pains in places I haven't had before. Another big event today is I'm going to change into my most clean pair of underpants.
Good morning. Another glorious morning. But I do have an injury update. I tweaked my ankle yesterday. I don't even know how. All those rocks and kind of irregular terrain probably caused some stress in the joint, because this morning it's really tender to the point where I was looking at my gut hooks app for an exit strategy just in case. But so far it's northbound we go. It's ouch, ouch. But it's not so bad. I'm confident it'll work its way out. Citadel Pass. Friggin' gorgeous up here. We also scored a near perfect day. Man. And a little bonus, our new buddy, Scott, showed up at the peak as well with us at the same time. Got a chance to chat, say hello. Oh, wow. This is stunning. I bet you wish you were here. We have an ankle update. Apart from this being friggin' beautiful out here, my ankle, which is a mystery injury, has not resolved itself, but it's not getting worse. So, struggling through with not much grief. The concern I have, of course, is, will it get worse? I'm telling you, this is beautiful out here, and it definitely perks up the spirits. Oh, wow. Unbelievable. So that's behind us. And this is what's ahead of us. If you look, you can see our path through the valley. After that, I do not know where it goes.
We were enjoying the moment so much that we took a wrong turn and headed towards the alternate in Sunshine Valley. I had skied there a few times before, so it was quite nice to see the valley in the summertime. It may have been a mistake, but in fact it was a wonderful mistake because we got to see the beautiful Sunshine Village. And use their facilities.
Wow. Hiker heaven. Look at this. Sinks. Bathroom. Toilet paper.
We had lunch in the valley. We enjoyed the facilities, but now we had to return to the high ridge by climbing up the mountain.
The question is, was it worth taking the alternate down into the valley at Sunshine Village rather than just cutting across the ridge? Well, here's the pros. Pros, we got to go to a bathroom. We sat down in the shade on a nice park bench for lunch, and we got to top up our water bottles with fresh water and soap and water in the sinks. The cons, we had a mother of a hill to climb. So we'll see if our legs will give a better answer by supper time. It doesn't get much better than this. This is crazy cool up here. As you spin around, you can see we're on a pass with all sorts of wonderful, crazy things. Man, in any case, I and Chris are going to settle down for a break.
It was all downhill from here as we headed towards Egypt Lake. We were concerned though, because we had no reservations. When we got to Egypt Lake, we discovered that it was closed, so we settled in the best we could respectfully.
Hey Noah.
Hello.
Supper time.
Favorite time of day.
Crusher. What's for supper?
Dang, I forgot. Oh, spicy chicken.
That sounds good. And for me, I mostly done my delicious, heck if I know, chicken and rice stuff. Oh, with a little bit of hickory sticks.
Munchie is quite the dog. As we all settled in for a delicious supper,
Tasty Munchie?
he decided to chow down on a big log.
Giant stick.
My hikers developed a hole, and I was concerned that it was going to split open and cause a greater problem for me, so I decided to do some field repairs. The shoes performed great up to this point, but I thought it would be better safe than sorry. Perhaps I should have been more concerned about my feet. On the next episode of the Great Divide Trail Diaries.
Cheers, everyone! Woohoo!